Good morning. Thank you for being here. I know most of you are used to me riffing a speech, but I actually have notes that I'm going to try to stick to this morning because we have some very important things to say. I'm joined this morning by leaders across the law enforcement spectrum and public safety spectrum to share the results of what we've phrased as Operation New Day, and to share our commitment to working together toward a safer, thriving Seattle. Many of you heard me say in months before I took office that we are out of control in terms of a city, that things have to drastically change. The whole conversation has to change. The whole feeling, the whole culture in Seattle has to change in terms of us being a vibrant, a safe city, a welcoming city. What you're seeing with these fine leaders around me are leaders who share the same passion about making sure we enforce our laws, but we also enforce it with compassion and caring, that you have leaders in restorative justice, leaders that understand community building, but leaders who also understand that we have to enforce the laws, and that regardless as to what we call the bad areas in town, we can agree that they are unsafe. We've seen early improvement at 12th and Jackson, but clearly there's so much work to do. Our efforts are nowhere complete. We don't take victory laps. This is ongoing work. But like 3rd Avenue and other areas in the city where crime is prevalent, the first step to ensuring safety has to be stabilizing the area, shutting down criminal behavior, and resetting norms. So I'll speak a little bit about 3rd Avenue in particular, and let me just give you some bullet points on 3rd Avenue, what we're doing. First of all, you do see that we will have a mobile precinct there in the vicinity. This serves several purposes, and we'll hear from our chief in a moment if you have specific questions about why we use our mobile precinct. I also wanted to say logistically that the order by which we'll speak is after myself. We'll have Chief Diaz, we'll have Leesa Manion. I'll better introduce these fine people before they speak. We'll have Frank Tarantino, we'll have Ann Davidson, and we'll have U.S. Attorney Nick Brown, otherwise known as our closer, because we wanted our U.S. Attorney to be last, because that way we would ensure your presence for this whole press conference. And he sort of will wrap us up in terms of what we're doing in terms of describing the seriousness with Frank Tarantino, the seriousness of what we're dealing with on the streets. And I think many people don't realize with some of the opioid issues and fentanyl issues what we're really dealing with. So that'll be the order with which we'll speak. Going back to 3rd Avenue. In addition to the mobile precinct, we'll have 6 dedicated officers at a minimum to this location with additional patrol support. Now, I'm not going to get into a lot of the specifics, a lot of the tactical works. There's tactical work and the strategic work, because some of it should not be shared publicly, and a lot of this is based on best practices in terms of criminology. We'll be partnering with the King County Sheriff's Office and other regional law enforcement agencies to increase the numbers of the police presence in these areas. We will be working with partners in Metro on solutions to what we're seeing and hearing from the riders and the residents in downtown Seattle, including improved transit access, but we're looking at the bus stop maintenance and cleaning locations, the bus stop areas, and there could be some temporary bus stop closures after we hear some feedback that may assist us in our efforts. We have pending investigative operations that will continue to address traffic in firearms possession. There will be arrests made for ongoing crime where there is probable cause to do so and where it is a bookable offense. Now, at the same time, where people understand that that is a criminal enforcement strategy, we continue to work with our care team, with our HOPE team, our Just Care team, our HOPE team, our community-based organizations to make sure that once you start looking at an area that needs this kind of criminal prosecutorial intervention, you come in and help people. At the same time, we have meetings with defense attorneys and people who are community advocates that under my leadership as mayor, I want to make this very clear, that I know people out here that are unsafe. I know people here doing bad things, and it is my love for all people out here in our city to keep them safe that sort of drives our behavior. And I've had discussions with each of these fine individuals behind me to make sure that they understand restorative justice. I do not believe in a racialized or militarized approach to anything that we do. But at the end of the day, everyone has to feel safe. The children, the people in wheelchairs, the shoppers, the employees and employers, everyone has to feel safe. So our approach will be modeled after some things that are working in other cities like Dallas that has an integrated approach, community-based solutions working with law enforcement agencies. Now, I've been on this job for about 9 weeks. Yes, it seems like 9 years. For 9 weeks. And I did not inherit the systems that are necessary to do this kind of work. But we're pulling together this kind of one Seattle approach where we're working with regional leaders, people that have been in this space in this field much longer than myself, who understand that it's going to be this holistic approach, this community-based approach to get our city back on track. Okay, so we do it with urgency and we do it with compassion. As part of Operation New Day, which started on 12th and Jackson, I talked earlier about the number of felony arrests we made. But I want to emphasize a point. I want to re-emphasize the point. This is the first step towards stabilizing an area. And when you stabilize an area, that is the only way you can bring the community-based comprehensive approach. We will be taking the same action that we took on 12th and Jackson to 3rd Avenue and these areas. It's geographically a little larger, but the same approach. This is the kind of one Seattle collaboration, quite candidly, that I'm excited about, where people are seeing and feeling the difference. 3rd Avenue, 4th Avenue, and some of these areas in our downtown corridor not only have to feel safe, they have to be vibrant, where people are saying, I want to go down there, not I want to avoid it. And as the mayor of this city, I'm open and transparent about the hand that I've dealt. We don't make excuses. We get the work done. So having said that, we're going to hear from Chief Diaz, and then after Chief Diaz shares a few comments, I'll better introduce Leesa Manion, and we'll take it from there, and there will be some time to ask questions after we finish our presentation. Thank you very much. I present to you Chief Diaz.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Thanks to Mayor Harrell for bringing us all together. The many challenges facing our city cannot be solved by one department working alone. The SPD cannot arrest its way out of rising crime, homelessness, mental health, and economic inequality. But working with local and federal partners, we all have a much better chance at success. We're seeing that evidence at 12th and Jackson now. We've arrested dozens of people suspected of felonies, including burglary, assault, failure to register as a sex offender. Working with the Drug Enforcement Agency, we made arrests for illegal trafficking of fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, meth, oxycodone, and other narcotics. The SPD has made dozens of arrests for organized retail theft at that location and other locations where stolen goods were trafficked to this area, as well as arrests for DUI, possession of stolen property, indecent liberties, and more. More than 50 stolen items have been recovered, including property and high-end stolen vehicles. We recovered 7 firearms, including a semi-automatic handgun and a 9mm ghost gun. But you should all know, during these operations, our officers are administering life-saving first aid. 9 people experienced overdose and have been treated by our officers, including 2 who were saved by naloxone. This ongoing criminal activity out in the open of Seattle streets not only negatively impacts our city's struggling businesses, but also impacts the community members, the neighbors, the workers, or anyone who visits Seattle. Yes, thanks to the coordinated emphasis since the beginning of the year, many of the suspects have been charged in both U.S. District Court and King County Superior Court. We will maintain the work at 12th and South Jackson. We will continue to see the violence around 3rd Avenue between Pike and Pine increase. I started patrolling 25 years ago, and this location was a challenge then. 2 years ago, after a shooting outside of the McDonald's, we started emphasis patrols. Then COVID hit, and this location was greatly impacted. We've seen businesses leave. We've seen senior citizens living in the area, businesses, employees, and others expressing fear, walking out of their door due to these shootings. We're committed to addressing these challenges at this location. We've already begun to stem the violence at 3rd and Pine, which impacts us all, and is why a coordinated effort between all of us is just the beginning. The SPD commits to continuing to work investigating, arresting, and booking those suspected of criminal activity. We are moving resources and providing emphasis during all patrol watches. We've stationed a mobile precinct on 3rd Avenue. We are working with King County Sheriff's Office on supporting our emphasis around bus stops. And we continue to conduct a variety of operations that are feeding into the violence from drug sales to organized retail theft. We will continue to have a visible presence at this location, and we will monitor the potential displacement of criminal activity. This location has been impacted by crime for decades. We know this work will not be accomplished immediately. It may take many months, but the one thing is certain: it cannot be done by SPD alone. We need help of all city departments, our federal law enforcement partners, the King County Sheriff's Office, Metro Police, the courts, and the jail. We need the support of our community. We all have a lot of work to do. Let's do it right, and let's do it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Our next presenter will be Leesa Manion. Certainly not a stranger to most of you. A little bit about her background. She's currently the Chief of Staff for the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. She spent 27 years with the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, serving as Chief of Staff for the last 15 years, where she manages 600 staff. She was born in Seoul, South Korea, to a Korean mother and a white father, and she's a graduate of the Seattle University School of Law. So because of her biracial background, it does give her superpowers, like some of us have with that background. She's been a leader addressing gun violence, restorative justice, providing victim services, and addressing racial disparity in our criminal legal system. And we think here in Seattle that her passion for restorative justice, her passion for victim services, her passion for addressing racial disparities, and her expertise in the Prosecuting Attorney's Office is exactly the kind of partnership we need. I present to you Leesa Manion.
Thank you, Mayor, for that superhero introduction. Now that our secret is out, the city is safe. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office is very grateful for the Mayor's leadership, and also grateful for the dedication and the collaboration with our law enforcement partners, both at the local and state and federal level. We are particularly thankful for the Seattle Police Department and the work that they've provided bringing these cases to us, despite severe staffing resource issues. We value these cases and we appreciate the seriousness of them. And when given the opportunity, our deputies proceeded to court every day and urged the court to ensure that these individuals were held, making the argument that immediate release would send the wrong message. Our work isn't going to stop with the cases filed as Operation New Day. I am very proud of the work that our attorneys are doing each and every day to file 30 felony cases. We have been doing that every day of the pandemic. We have been in the courthouse, staffing cases, staffing hearings, and ensuring the safety of our community. And our work isn't going to stop with just the cases that involve shooting and violent crime. We are addressing repeat perpetrators, property crimes, drug deals involving fentanyl and heroin. And our people are in court every day ensuring the safety of our community. And for cases that don't rise to the level of a felony on their own, we are grateful for the new partnership with our new city attorney, Ann Davison. We are addressing multiple misdemeanor crimes, aggregating the value of loss and aggregating the number of crimes to take those felony whenever possible. Our lawyers are collaborating across the street with city attorney's office each week to address crime in downtown Seattle and all parts of our city. People deserve to feel safe in their neighborhoods, wherever they are. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office is proud to be part of this solution and part of this effort. We know that teamwork is essential, and we are heartened by the collaboration that is here represented in the room today. Thank you.
Thank you, Leesa. So as I bring up the next presenter, one of the common questions we get, in fact, I got it, I think it was the fourth day on the job, where we're seeing this crime in the city. Do something, do something, do something. If you do something too quickly, it's not sustainable. You have to build cases. You have to understand who you're dealing with. You have to understand who's the victim, who's the perpetrator, and it's work. This next presenter will give you a indication of the kind of work that goes into the work, particularly when serious drugs are involved. Frank Tarantino III is a special agent in charge with the DEA Seattle Field Division. Since 2020, Frank Tarantino is overseeing DEA's Seattle Field Division, where he oversees operations in the states of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska. He is an Army veteran and has served with the DEA since 1998, nearly 25 years. He's a Norwich University, the Military College of Vermont graduate. He has a long history of leading major efforts to dismantle violent drug trafficking organizations and to develop a coordinated plan to disrupt high-level drug trafficking. And in my discussions with Mr. Tarantino, I said, so what motivates you? Why do you do this kind of work? It's very simple, to protect people. To protect people. He wants a safe Seattle. He wants a safe region. I present to you Frank Tarantino III.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. My name is Frank Tarantino, and I'm the Special Agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration Seattle Field Division. I want to thank the Mayor for the invitation and the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I also want to thank my law enforcement partners standing alongside me while we work together to help make the City of Seattle healthy and safe. The DEA targets the most significant and the most violent drug trafficking organizations and drug traffickers that are causing the most harm in our communities and who are responsible for fueling the increase in overdose deaths and drug-related violence in our city. The Mexican cartels are deliberately lacing these counterfeit prescription pills with the highly addicting synthetic opioid fentanyl. They do this intentionally to drive addiction and to increase their customer base for the sole purpose of making money. They have absolutely no regard or concern for the people they harm. Last year, in the United States, there were over 104,000 overdose deaths, 65% involving synthetic opioids, specifically fentanyl. One person every 5 minutes is overdosing and dying. That's 286 people a day. Last year, the DEA Seattle Division seized enough pure fentanyl to kill every person in the state of Washington. Drug trafficking and gun violence are directly linked and are causing the most harm in our communities. Our strategic and targeted enforcement is designed to remove those responsible for fueling the opioid epidemic and drug-related violence. We will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to reduce the drug-related violence and to target those criminal drug networks that are supplying these lethal counterfeit prescription pills throughout our city. The DEA is committed to keeping and making the City of Seattle healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you very much, Frank. Our next presenter will be our City Attorney, Ann Davidson. And you heard comments made by Leesa Manion earlier about how we are working collaboratively with the City Attorney and the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. I'm not going to speak on behalf of Ms. Davidson, but I will say something that may sound a little like I am. We both came in office together at the same time, and I would suggest we sort of inherited a mess. I'm just open and transparent about the hand we are dealt. And we've been meeting and working together and collaboratively and strategizing and making sure, again, we have a strong approach but a compassionate approach. And I think she'll say a few words about her office, and it's been a pleasure working collaboratively with the office. I present to you Ann Davidson, our City Attorney for the City of Seattle.
Thank you, Mayor Harrell. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us today. I am Ann Davidson, your new Seattle City Attorney, and we are here today to discuss the urgent public safety challenges here facing our city. I do want to start by acknowledging the senseless gun violence that we've experienced that took another young life just the other night downtown. The second shooting death on 3rd Avenue in less than a week. I have personally met with families who have lost their children as a result of gun violence, children who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. These shootings cannot become commonplace. Gun violence impacts all of us. Too many small businesses, owners, and commuters, visitors to downtown feel unsafe in the heart of our city and also in our neighborhoods like Little Saigon, where for far too long an open-air drug market was there helping with organized retail theft. It had assaults, gun violence. All of this has been allowed to continue for too long. Nobody should feel unsafe in their city or in their neighborhood when it's their home. When we have a concerted, collaborative effort, we can work to address crime in our city. Thanks to the hard work of our Seattle Police Department and our community partners, we have seen significant reduction in crime on 12th and Jackson. As a part of Operation New Day, my office helped prosecute theft cases from downtown. These goods were headed to 12th and Jackson to be sold on the street. These arrests and prosecutions will help to disrupt the cycle of addiction, theft, drug sales, and human suffering. This is just a small indicator of this significant problem. It cannot become the norm, and we cannot look away. But real change will only come from all partners in our public safety system collaborating to do their part. As the City Attorney's Office, I've directed our criminal division to prioritize prosecution of dozens of crimes from 3rd Avenue in order to disrupt and deter the open-air drug market and fencing activity that has a hold in our downtown. These open-air drug markets foster crime and all too often lead to tragic events like those we have witnessed only twice. That we have witnessed twice only in 2 days. I am committed to helping to turn 3rd Avenue around and other high crime areas in our city. The City Attorney's Office is ready to go. We are ready to partner with the Mayor's Office. We are ready to partner with Seattle Police Department. We are ready to partner with community organizations and other law enforcement partners like our federal and public safety partners that are here present with us today to help make downtown Seattle safer for our residents, for our businesses, and for everyone who visits our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you very much, Ann. Our last presenter before Q&A will be our U.S. Attorney, Nick Brown, a person with whom we all should be proud of based on the appointment. A little background. Nick Brown became U.S. Attorney for Western Washington in 2021 after being appointed by President Joe Biden. He previously served as general counsel to Governor Jay Inslee and as an assistant United States attorney. An Army veteran. He's a graduate of Morehouse College and the Harvard School of Law. As U.S. Attorney, he directs investigations and prosecutes cases developed by a network of federal law enforcement agencies working to ensure safety by dealing with complex issues ranging from terrorism and gun violence to drug trafficking and organized crime. Again, Nick and I are personal friends, full disclosure. And I always ask people, why do you do what you do? And you hear the resounding theme that's consistent with One Seattle: to protect people, to allow people for a better pathway and opportunity in life, and to do so with passion and restorative justice. I present to you Nick Brown.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to start bringing you everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here this morning. I want to thank the mayor and all of my local partners who are here today for gathering to discuss very serious and challenging issues that the city of Seattle is facing, and how we work and how we move ahead and how we make progress. When we talk about crime as leaders, as advocates, as members of this Seattle community, we must be transparent that the issues we are facing and the nature of the problem is serious, and the causes are incredibly complex and varied. Right now, too many people are suffering in our communities, suffering with addiction, suffering with mental health struggles, and with a lack of stable and secure housing. And far, far too many people are being shot. Far too many people are becoming victims of crimes. And while there are no easy solutions to these issues, we must use every available approach to tackle these challenges and to keep our communities safe. What it takes is leadership, and I thank the mayor for his leadership. What it takes is substantive and meaningful engagement with our community and participation from our community. So often, and too often, law enforcement leaders, political leaders, attorneys, prosecutors bring solutions to the community without hearing from the community the types of solutions and help that they need. And my office is doing everything that we can to collaborate with our partners, both in law enforcement, both in the political offices, and with our community. Just earlier this week, I convened a meeting at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the federal courthouse with all of the police chiefs and deputies from the major jurisdictions within King County. And we sat around and roundtabled to try to digest the nature of the problem, the challenges that they are facing, and ways that we can all collaborate more cohesively together. In the operation that was focused on 12th and Jackson, last month my office charged 3 new cases in federal court involving people dealing drugs and carrying firearms. And today we are filing a 4th case. And this time it was a person who was originally arrested at 12th and Jackson. He was booked and then he was released, and just a few days later he was picked up at 3rd and Pike. Both times carrying a gun and both times dealing drugs. And we know that crime moves, and we have to move with it and address it wherever it is. And the increased violence in our communities is not just a challenge for law enforcement. To decrease the violence, we have to work with the community. We have to hear from them. We have to engage them to break these cycles of crime. We have to provide resources and support, education, jobs, all the things that interrupt violence from occurring. There's a lot to work to do, and we stand ready to help. Let me say one final thing. I love Seattle. Everyone here today loves this city. It is a vibrant community. It is a wonderful community. It is a community that I am raising my children in. I take the bus every day to work. I get off at 3rd and Pike. We can't abandon our city. We have to invest in it. But this downtown core, this broad core, it is the heart of our city. It is the economic heart. It is the cultural heart. It is the social hub. And right now we're suffering a little bit of heart disease in some really important areas. And we have to get healthy, and we have to work together to make it healthy. And whatever the mayor needs to do, in whatever way we can assist, we will be here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Now you can see why I said we all should be proud of the presidential appointment by President Biden. So in closing, it's going to take a concerted approach, making good cases, making sure restorative justice is a lens by which we see these issues, all of the issues in our strategies, community-based solutions. But at the end of the day, in our One Seattle approach, you're hearing a consistent theme. This has to be a safe, vibrant city, a city that we love. And with that, we'll take a few questions. Jamie, you may have to help me navigate through this a little bit, because I'm going to...
Can you be more specific about how, specifically within this operation, the city is going to offer other services besides just crime intervention?
Well, yes. As you know, before I took office, there are a lot of community-based organizations out there, members from the faith-based community. By the way, I don't think we're quite tapping that asset as much as we should. There's our care team, there's our Just Care team, our Hope team. All of them are aware of what we're trying to do, not just because we're making outreach calls, but we want people, after an area is somewhat stabilized, we want to have our social workers go out there and figure out who needs treatment. Let me give you a good example. One of the best times, unfortunately, to treat someone with drug and alcohol issues, as an example, could possibly be when they're arrested. I know that sounds like an interesting way to approach it, but you look at what they're doing in Dallas and some other cities. So one of the strategies we're doing, or we're raising resources to make sure that we get people the help they need. And in this case, if it's drug and alcohol issues, we're looking at that as a possibility. That's why the booking policies and what happens to a person after a potential arrest is made becomes critically important. There are also situations where we're looking at physical improvements, such as lighting. What street lights are out? Can we increase the wattage? Does that create an ambiance? You know, that's crime prevention through environmental design, the kind of work we're doing. So that's why we take a look at the buses. So again, we will work with organizations to do our outreach, to make sure we get the right counselors down there. I don't want to start naming organizations by name because, quite candidly, we are doing an inventory of the community-based organizations that are recipients of city funds to make sure that they are aligned with at least our vision and that we are aligned with the strategies that they believe are best appropriate in some of these areas. And so that work, again, in our 9th week is being done. It's an evaluation and a bringing in the outreach. And that's why I made it clear that the first step has to be to stabilize the area. So this is a part of a more holistic approach. And so I'm not going to name organizations, but we're doing that work as we speak.
Brandy?
You know, there's been time, and everybody in this room will remember, there's been times where 3 Pine has been very bad, and then it's gotten better. It looks better this morning than it did a couple days ago. But you'll remember Operation Crosstown Traffic in 2015, 9.5 blocks, which was meant to tackle that area. And it looked better for months. Businesses like Pierogi were lured in with the promise of a renaissance. That's why they opened at 3rd. So how do we stop, and now it's like worse than it's ever been. So how do we stop the cyclical nature of it getting better and then getting bad again?
Thank you, Brandy. So let's get something pretty clear here. I think the reason why Mr. Tarantino, Frank, is here and the U.S. Attorney's Office is to impress upon you the seriousness of the drug issue that we have. I think you know it instinctively when you walk the streets, but the numbers have increased. I can't emphasize that enough. The number of addictions and criminal behavior influenced by the drug issue has increased. That's why we're just not going out there with these, you know, arrest. We have to realize that this is a health crisis. So I think what's different between then and now are simply the math. That, as Mr. Tarantino spoke about, is the percentages of overdoses, the percentages of violent behavior associated with this drug issue has increased. That's why our holistic approach becomes so critical. So I think the difference is, again, when we talk about, let's talk about 12th and Jackson as an example. So to your question, Chair, we're going to have community-based people still walk around and see who needs help. So we're looking at that now to make sure we just don't have police everywhere. You hear me saying at almost every press conference, we don't have a militarized approach in everything that we do. So I think what's different is the numbers of addictions have increased, the violence associated with that, the need for our not only arrest strategy but our community-based strategy is increased, and so that's what you see in front of you today.
Paul. Paul. This may be a question for the chief, depending on who has this information, but are you tracking where people who have been moved off of the corners of 12th and Jackson or 3rd and Pike are going, and what are your plans looking forward to what people sort of resettle in a new area?
Sure, I'm going to just respond and then maybe pass to the chief if he's comfortable with that question. So, and I really appreciated Nick Brown's very granular example of the kind of data that we follow. So to segue into that very specific example about a person who was arrested and then rearrested, perhaps Chief Diaz could respond with a little more clarity.
The answer to your question is yes. We are tracking where people are going, where their criminal activity is starting, and then where it's ending up. It's part of one of the things that we are also wanting to track for any potential displacement. So if we are, infuse ourselves into the 3rd and Pine area with a lot of patrol cars, where does that, potentially end up going? Do they end up moving to 4th and Pike? Do they move into the, Pioneer Square? Where is that activity going to end up going? Because we are, being that we are focused on the criminal activity, and when we have a bunch of officers and we address that, it's going to end up going somewhere. So that's really what is trying to get to the heart of where that activity is going. But even to what U.S. Attorney Brown was saying, we've had incidences where they've come from 3rd and Pine, hit to 5th and Jackson, from 5th and Jackson to 12th and Jackson, and back. And that's where also the trafficking of stolen property is also occurring. Many of it's occurring downtown, the Walgreens, the Rite Aid, the Target, and they're moving those actions. So we are trying to make sure where that activity is going. And
do you need to keep on removing the mobile precinct as things move?
We will move the mobile precinct in to address the hotspots that are. And so if there is an identified hotspot that is now changing, then we will move that mobile precinct to address that area.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, and this might be for the chief too, but I understand there are many avenues to this, but I was talking to people on 3rd Avenue and they were wondering, why did it take 2 deaths for them to be able to see this police presence, this effort on 3rd Avenue? What do you say to this?
Well, it didn't take 2 deaths. What it's taken is the ability for us to put the right systems in place, to gather the right leaders in place, to track the data and do what we have to do. And I understand, based on previous discussions I have with you, that people want quick action. I will tell you this, and I'll look anyone in the eye when I say this. There's no one that wants faster action than me. Let me repeat that. There's no one that wants faster action than me. But we do it strategically and sustainably, and we do it with compassion. So, my hearts go out for anyone that's lost a family. I spend time talking to the parents of children who are lost. A lot of time. And so we look at our gun safety measures, we look at the policy changes. It is unfortunate that we have lost some lives in downtown Seattle. But that was not the impetus behind what we're doing. But it is our inspiration.
I don't know your name, I'm sorry.
I'm Frankie. Frankie with Box 13. This question, I believe, will be for Frank Tarantino, but Chief, you might be able to answer as well. When we're talking about the city as a whole, looking at the violence and the drug activity, are we looking into young people? Is there gang involvement in all of this trafficking and issues?
Sure, I'm going to, Frank, are you comfortable? Respond, please.
Very appropriate that Frankie would be asking Frank a question, so I appreciate that. Yeah. Let me just say that it's proof here today that we're all in on helping Seattle and making it healthy and safe. I think we're showing the unified effort that's necessary to make that difference. And the DEA is sort of doubling down, if you will, or refocusing our efforts specifically on fentanyl, specifically on these kind of prescription pills that are making their way from Mexico to downtown Seattle. And when we look at the data, and we have to look at the data, our approach is more data-driven, intel-led on, as Chief mentioned and the Mayor mentioned, hotspots. When we look at hotspots, we're looking at a multi-layer approach at violent crime, overdose deaths, drug sales, maybe shots fired. It's more of identifying multiple layers of intelligence that we can use to have more strategic operations that will have an effect on the city of Seattle. But then also looking more outwardly and seeing where those where that impact might push that particular organization to another part of the city. So this is a more holistic approach that it will take time to develop, and it's going to take a lot of time for the people in this room, both here and in the audience, to contribute to make that difference. But it's a relentless pursuit. If we think for a second that we're going to spend a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months trying to treat the drug-related violence or try to drive down overdose deaths and then walk away from it, we would be sadly mistaken. This is a long game approach that we're all committed to. I too live in Seattle. I walk all over the place on the weekends, and I see it with my own eyes, and we are absolutely committed to this. We have 6 enforcement teams dedicated specifically for King County that are working collaboratively with state and local counterparts, specifically Seattle Police Department, and with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. We're, as mentioned many times, all in on this approach. If that answers your question.
We'll do Chris, Omar,
And Nick would like to follow up on that. Thank you, Nick.
Frankie, I appreciate the question because I was a line prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office for 6 years. I've been gone for 8 years. One of the principal differences that I see as a prosecutor from the federal perspective is that it used to be that you could largely identify the areas that were driving violence, particularly shootings. You could look at a map and say, we're seeing shootings here, we're seeing shootings there. And it was easier to focus and target resources. One of the principal differences, and this gets a little bit to Brandy's question as well, is now the violence and the shootings is far more dispersed than it used to be. Nearly everyone that these guys on the streets encounter has a gun. Nearly all of them. That is new. That is a change. That is a symptom of having too many guns and firearms in America, frankly. It used to be that only particularly people involved in violent conduct had firearms. But now it's everybody. We're seeing shootings from people big and small in terms of their significance in criminal operations. So in terms of tackling the problem, we have to think what's going to work on the most significant problem areas, the individuals that are most likely to be engaged or victimized by violent crime. We have to really engage with the community to think about how can we interrupt those cycles of crime and do crime intervention efforts, because we are not going to prosecute our way out of the problems. We are not going to simply jail and lock up everyone and make everybody feel safe. We are not going to live in a police state. We have to build some of these foundational systems that are sustainable, with young people in particular, with jobs, with opportunity, with resources, with support, with trauma-based informed support for these kids that are seeing crime in their family and then in their communities. I don't want to lock all those folks up. That will not make us safer. It might make us safer for a few years and make everybody feel better in the community. 97% of the people that we lock up are going to get back out. And so we have to think about how do we prevent people from even being part of the system to begin with, and not just use the blunt tools of law enforcement.
Thank you, Nick. Leesa would like to respond to that as well, please.
I just wanted to share some positive news regarding juvenile justice. So for the first time ever, juvenile crime is at its lowest level in recent history, and that is not an accident. It is the result of the cumulative impact and collective years of entering into evidence-based programming for youth, offering them tools, offering them community supports, community mentoring, and opportunities. And it was in collaboration with community leaders, with government partners, and with law enforcement. So together we are making a difference. Gun crime among juveniles is down. Crime among juveniles is down. The referrals are the lowest they've ever been. So that is a bit of good news. Thank you.
Thank you, Leesa. Thank you very much.
Okay, Chris, Omari, and Edie, and we're done.
Okay.
Chris.
Mayor, I'll steal your word granular. There were a lot of numbers that were thrown out here, so I want to get granular. I heard 4 cases on the federal level. How many people overall were arrested and have been booked on this? And why bring in the feds? Was that a decision made because of the case backload on both King County and the Seattle Center?
So on 12th and Jackson, you asked for statistics. Let me pull out one of the notes because I know you're You're a math guy. Math guy. Okay, I'm going to bring out my math guy. And what's important when the chief helps me on that is we measure. We have to measure. It's not just it's just not the ambiance or what people are feeling. Quite frankly, I'm holding my my police department, and there's not a quota, but I just want to know what are we doing and how can I explain this to the public so we're transparent on our approaches. Chief Diaz.
Thank you. Okay, so numbers. When it comes to felonies, so we made 7 felony gun violation, or what we call VUFA or UFA arrests, 25 commercial burglary arrests, 23 felony narcotic investigation or arrests, 19 felony warrants. So those wouldn't require a new charge. Those were charges that already previously had, but somebody had a warrant for their arrest. 1 felony assault arrest, 1 felony theft arrest, 3 organized retail theft arrests that reached the felony level. 1 felony eluding arrest, but it was associated with a stolen vehicle. So that's a total of 80 arrests. Now, somebody can have multiple charges, so it's not just that. That's much smaller individual, but that is 80 different charges that people are faced. When it comes to misdemeanor, 25 theft or shoplift arrests, 9 misdemeanor warrant arrests, 6 assault arrests, 1 DUI, 4 possession of stolen property arrests, 2 unlawful use of weapon arrests, 1 indecent liberties arrest, 2 pedestrian interference and obstructing arrests, 1 failure to register as a sex offender, for a total of 51 that fit in the misdemeanor range. Just the other day, we had an arrest, or we had a gentleman that pushed a female down the stairs at 5th and Jackson, and then stabbed a female at 12th and Jackson. Yesterday, we did make an arrest in that case at 1st and Cherry. So, you know, for us, we are making sure that we're following up, we're doing our due diligence, and trying to make sure that people that are harming our community, that we're making those arrests. So that just gives you a rundown of about 120 since January 1st to March 3rd, the amount of contacts that we've made in the 12th and Jackson location.
And that is separate from the federal cases?
Separate from the federal cases.
And is this all 12th and Jackson, or including 3rd and Pine as well?
This is 12th and Jackson, and sometimes on some of the thefts that are associated where we've linked them from the, you know, a downtown location to the 12th and Jackson location.
Let me just, if I can, address the question about our engagement in these efforts. We will always be a partner whether we're charging cases or not. So even though we only charge a select number of cases, we are always collaborating, and we are always figuring out where my office and our federal law enforcement partners, DEA, ATF, FBI, HSI, can partner to help these guys, even if we don't bring a federal case. I don't care about the numbers for my office. If we can be a partner and a resource for others, that's equally effective. I only have jurisdiction as the U.S. Attorney over federal crimes. So not everything that happens in our streets is a federal crime, even if it might be a very serious matter. If it involves gun trafficking, gun possession by people who are illegally possessing guns, or the combination of drugs and guns, it's going to get our attention. Anything that involves a firearm, for me personally, is going to get our attention. We're not going to charge every single case because you have to be more significant, and I am very mindful of where can the federal government have the most impact. I have the luxury of being able to pick and choose a little bit where that impact is most effective, but it has to be a federal offense for us to be engaged.
Thank you, Nick. I think a part of your question, too, Chris, was this kind of partnership we're developing. You heard Frank and Nick talk about, you know, being Seattle people, Seattle residents. We built the home team. And, well, that's one of you guys' taglines. I better stay away from that. Well, we stand for the truth. Well, that's another tagline. In all seriousness, that when I meet with these leaders, I need to know as mayor, I ask the same question: what motivates you to do what you do? Such that at the end of the day, that I feel, and that's an emotion, I feel as though we have the right approach to protecting everybody, and that's what I know we have in this team here standing with me today. Jamie?
Yeah, Omari, Dee, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, our studio's right down the street. Walk right past 3rd and Pike every day. And, you know, unlike a lot of people who videotape, I sit out there and I talk to these people. These are our community members, sir. These are our community members. A lot of them are on fentanyl and other drugs. A lot of them addiction by prescription and all kinds of different routes that have got there. Nobody who's out there on the street was somebody who was born that way. They've manifested and got it that way somehow. A lot of them used to be professionals and basically people from our community and across, a lot of them from across King County, not necessarily even from our municipality, but that's where they found themselves here. And I just wanted to follow up on the first question here. I know you said that you don't want to name anybody today, but you know, are you willing to, when you do your inventory, you have your top guns here in law enforcement, and I think everybody wants to see this stopping fentanyl. Are you going to bring out your top guns here when it comes to addressing these social issues here of our community members that are suffering out there on the streets? Because oftentimes things get caught in video and it doesn't translate to the general public. These are people who are suffering through addiction. They don't want to be there in an addictive state out there, you know what I'm saying, abusing all the time. The other thing is when you do your inventory, considering some of these people who are out here, these are the children of Kirkland, the children of Bellevue, the children of Renton. Are you going to partner with King County as well when you're going to addressing and resources that are down here for when you're talking about the people who are suffering from addiction, who are actually the fentanyl dealers are actually, you know, taking advantage of and fueling this crisis?
Thanks for the question, Omari. The short answer is yes. I tell folks, as a local boy here, assume that I know that people are hurting out there as a result of this drug epidemic. Assume that we're leading with our hearts as well. And you are so right that these drugs that are coming in from out of our country is a poison killing good people who did not have the safeguards around them to allow themselves to overcome that. So yes, the top, I'm not going to use your expression top guns, but the community-based organizations, that one of my directives to my departments is I need to know who these superstars are. And quite frankly, I hear a lot of them saying the right things to previous mayors and previous departments. We are evaluating that now, and I'm asking my executive team, who are my, to use your term, top guns in this work, because that is what will be sustainable. And that's why I mentioned earlier that getting someone treatment, if they are so happen to be arrested, could be a victim themselves, getting them the treatment that they need because of the crisis that Frank Tarantino talked about. We have to do that. So we are identifying those organizations now, and I need them, quite frankly, I need them out here in the street with me, out there in the streets helping people. And to answer your question about the regional collaboration, I will partner with anyone who shares our vision of One Seattle. I will partner with any organization, any human being that believes that we can help people and that people are not born at a level playing field. And some people are more susceptible to drug addiction and opioid addiction than others. That some people come from homes that did not allow them the same opportunities that others had. I will partner with any organization to get the job done. So yes, and we are identifying those organizations as we speak. Jamie, you got it.
And last question is Dee Dee.
Thank you. I had a quick follow-up for the chief, if there's any information about how many of the 120 arrests have resulted in actual charges. I know that, you know, some of these arrests have been more recent, but there's a concern that the cases, because of low staffing, aren't actually resulting in charges. And then that was just my follow-up. My actual question, also probably best handled by the chief, perhaps, maybe the mayor. But people in the Little Saigon neighborhood, you know, hearing about the plans released yesterday because again of personnel, to staff the mobile precinct in Little Saigon with non-patrol units. They're worried that that long-time drug market that a city attorney in Davis was saying, you know, unacceptable, was there for such a long time, really plagued that community. They're worried it's going to come back. And so how do we ensure that a non-patrol personnel will still be able to keep up that good work that's been done there?
Chief?
Actually, so at 12th and Jackson, it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a hybrid. So we are going to have patrol officers out from different various units throughout the department. So each day there will be an assignment of several people from, investigations, from collaborative policing, from our special operations. So we will still have uniform presence in that area. But it is also a nice transition that, because the area is looking the way it is, to also have some civilians that are CSOs, community service officers, to be engaging in with businesses and community. And, I think that's part of what we've, discussed with the mayor is, he's been really big on trying to make sure that we have this sworn approach to how we police in a community. And as we transition, it allows us to have that sworn presence as well as the community. When it comes to the investigations, as you've already heard from U.S. Attorney Brown, that on the federal side, there's certain charges that are already happening on the federal side. We also have many misdemeanors that the City Attorney Davison is also prosecuting. I can't remember exactly how many numbers. We know that they have been arrested, they've been booked into the jail, and we do know that many of them have been released. Some have been released and already been rearrested. So, that is one of the challenges that we are facing, is we want to make sure that for those that are preying on the community, that there is that level of accountability to keep people from doing that again. But we are writing up our reports. Some of those case reports needs follow-up investigation. But we're working with the King County Prosecutor's Office, Seattle Municipal Court, or Seattle City Attorney, to get those exact numbers.
Just to clarify, does that mean you're working with judges too, to on the personal release, on the releasing on personal recognizance, that kind of thing?
So yes, we're working with the jails. We are working with the judges, and we are working with the prosecutor's office as well.
So I want to thank all of you for covering this story. And I got to say earlier, I want to thank these fine presenters with me. I don't say behind me because, if anything, I'm behind them. These are leaders in their respective spaces. It's going to take that approach in building One Seattle, and our people in this city have been somewhat traumatized. They've almost lived with this kind of situation for a couple of years, and it is unacceptable. This is not a victory lap. This is us getting out of the blocks, running in a sustainable way. I'm not a strong runner, but I could run for a length of time, and we're in it. We're in it to win it for our city because we love this city and we want to protect everyone. So everyone, thank you very much. One Seattle.